WWE premium live event coming to the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Progress joins the WWE in Wales. TNT Extreme have announced Pit Fighter. Myron Reed is coming to Sovereign Pro Wrestling. The United Empire will no longer be appearing at Rev Pro UK's Unfinished Business in Sheffield. And British old promotions, 1PW and NGW, have announced their returns. You know who we are. We are TNT, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on Bodyslam, brought to you by Powered Forward TV. I am the Great British Attack Queen, Mr. Andrew Moore, and E2 Most, joined as always by Big Daddy Dan, Mr. Daniel Allen, just Dan for short. How we do?
I am very, very well. I have had a good weekend, which is turning into a great weekend. I have already been along to one fantastic wrestling show, EWA, and I'm off to another one tomorrow.
Sounds exciting. Well, I've watched plenty of British wrestling that's been made available to stream. We'll be talking about some of those shows, Progress, Rev Pro UK, British Wrestling Revolution. Of course, we will do the usual NXT UK recap and review. We've got British wrestling news from up and down the country. We've got European news from Germany, Spain, Italy, Denmark, Hungary. We've got a lot of news and a lot of previews. Yeah, indeed. But before we kick it off, we're talking about the top stories of today, or this week anyway. You were at Entertainment Wrestling Association.
I was indeed. They were amazing hosts. They were so, so kind. I got to go along to their big show, Lord of the Rings.
And where was that?
Lords of the Ring, in fact. That was in High Wycombe, and they've had a string.
I'm going to be staying in High Wycombe, aren't I?
You are indeed, for your wonderful stag weekend. No, this show was absolutely brilliant, and they've done a load of movie-themed shows. In fact, they think they may well be the first wrestling company that did the big movie-themed shows. And I think they may be right. They have got one of the best setups in British wrestling, possibly the best entranceway outside of Rev Pro. Huge, big light streams. We've got flames. We've got smoke. It's absolutely brilliant. They are a great, great group. And I got to go along to the show and meet some of the lovely wrestlers, the backstage people. I even got to help build the ring. It was great. We started off with Ruckus doing the intro, Ruckus being one of their homegrown talents who is very well loved. Simon Miller came out to face Lucien Phillips, but unfortunately Simon can't wrestle as he's broken his hand. Poor Simon Miller, our thoughts go to you. But he brought out a chosen favourite, a champion for himself. He brought out man like Derice to take on Lucien Phillips. Great back and forth. Phillips using his size advantage to bend the rules. Derice reversed a backbreaker and build up ahead of steam. Hit an RKO for a 2, but Phillips hit his head off with a big lariat. Derice managed to hit the frog splash and got the win. Our second match was Big Jim Diehard versus Winston. Oh, it's a great big man match. Winston's got to be, 6'7", 6'8", and built like an absolute brick outhouse. It wasn't a technical match, but it sure was hard hitting. Winston goes for 10 punches, but while he stood up there, Big Jim hits a powerbomb for the win. Our next match was the EWA British Championship. The champion, the Shah, Jordan Saeed, with his manager, the Tycoon, taking on Alexander Roth, the Wolf of Brawl Street. Lots of fighting out of the ring and into the crowd. Roth super kicks and Superman punches. Then the Tycoon pulls the ref out of the ring. Roth goes to the top rope stomp and manages to hit it. It's a huge double-footed top rope stomp. But Jordan Saeed kicked out of 2. Roth managed to escape the camel clutch, but then the Tycoon distracted and Jordan Saeed got the win. We then had Vanity, which is Matt Maddox and the Artist, who are the current EWA Tag Team Champions and the former SWW Tag Team Champions, take on the Beards, Carl Atlas and Mad Dog Quinn. Beards, super powerful, big tag team, loads of great tag team moves. They properly broke the ring in half, separating it out and making sure that there was no tag in between Matt Maddox and the Artist. one of the beards, they were big guys, hit a tope suicida, which looked absolutely fantastic. In the end, they did manage to beat the Beards. Vanity got the win with both members of Vanity having to hold down one member of the Beards. Good reaction. Connor Mills was then on. He took on the captain, and this was a heated grudge match. Close 2 count from Mills, and he thought he got 3 ropes. Mills did his big lariat thing where he bounces backwards off the ropes, comes through, hits the lariat. Then all of a sudden, the Dead Sad Boys came out and beat up the captain until Ruckus came and made the save. Final match was the EWA Championship match, Joel Redman versus Bullet. Bullet is so loved, and Joel Redman was so hated. He was being chased around by a group of 20 children shouting at him the whole time. It was great fun. Redman attacked Bullet's leg most of the time, hit a suplex, rotos 2 count, choke slam. Redman got close to the 2 count, but in the end, he got hit with a super kick, and the winner was Bullet. I can't wait to come back and see this company again. Thank you so much for having us, and yeah, great fun. All in all, I would give my time there 4 sugars.
Oh, 4 sugars, nice and sweet.
Yeah.
Let's go into some news then. Let's start off. The WWE are bringing a premium live event. You know, not a pay-per-view.
Well, they don't exist anymore.
And it's going to be in the Principality Stadium, or I didn't even know it's the Principality. It's just a Millennium Stadium to me.
It is indeed. I think your microphone's just knocked against your computer. It's getting a bit rattly. Yeah, it's amazing. I've heard that apparently 60,000 tickets have been pre-reserved.
Yeah, I believe so. There is.
Yeah, 60,000 is the number that I heard yesterday.
Very nice to see that that does seem to be well received. The fans do seem to be very excited for it, and yeah, that's definitely great to see. Yes, as you say, Alex McCarthy reported that more than 59,000 people have pre-registered for the tickets.
And of course, it's not just going to be the premium live event, is it, Andy?
No, because Progress will also be joining the.
No, I meant also there is going to be a WWE Fan Fest.
Yes,
and apparently there is also going to be the Raw and SmackDown tapings as well.
Which, yeah, as you say, it's good for British wrestling. We got to speak to Gene and Big Damo this week, and both of them said the exact same thing, that it can only be good for the UK, and hopefully we'll see maybe a few more premium live events, maybe an NXT UK premium live event at some time, once they possibly get outside the BT studios every now and then.
We live in hope. But failing that, the BT studios does look fantastic.
It does, and I think there's definitely the NXT UK shouldn't travel to do their weekly show. I think they should just make the weekly show at home, where it is, very similar to NXT, and then every 3 months you have a premium live one somewhere which has a stadium, well, maybe not a stadium, but arena capacity.
So the other WWE news, do you want to hit on that now?
Yeah, why not? Because, you know, they're at it again. WWE, that is. They are at it again, changing names once again. And Kaylee Ray will apparently hereby forth be known as Alba Fry.
Now, this is a direct edict from Vince McMahon, who has said that he cannot have any previous names or names that people have wrestled under or been known under when they've been an athlete. They have to have new WWE names.
Well, if that's going to be the case, it's got to be the case. But I mean, surely they can do better. I mean, it's a very Scottish sounding name. I'll give them that. But
it doesn't offend me. It's not a Butch. It's not a Gunter.
It's not great. And speaking of two more people that recently had their names changed, old Elton Prince and what's the other one now called?
I don't know, and that's never a good sign, because if one sounds better than the other, you're going to remember that one. Elton Prince and I don't know, Dave.
Elton Prince and Dave. No, yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure that's the one for it. But come on, what is their name?
Not Kit Wilson. Kit something is the other name.
Kit something, yeah. Kit Harrington. But either way, yes, boys, they are the tag team champions.
Yes, boys.
Yes, boys. Well done. Go out there and dominate. As I said it. Best tag team.
It is Kit Wilson.
Kit Wilson and Elton Prince. NXT Tag Team Champions. Yes, boy.
They're good names.
I look forward to the side plate check.
Yeah, they've already done that promo.
Love it.
Yeah.
But moving on from some WWE, let's talk about Progress, because Progress will be joining WWE in Wales.
They will indeed.
Congratulate. So on the day after the WWE show, which is September 3rd, sorry, we should have said that, but we didn't. So the Progress Wrestling show will be on the 4th of September and is referred to as Wrestling Golf Madrid in that order, and it will be chapter 140.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, a nice round number chapter as well. It always feels special when it's a round number.
It does, and of course the name, if anyone's wondering out there, is a reference to Gareth Bale, who is a football player from Wales who played for Real Madrid, but was more known for spending his time playing golf.
I'm glad you explained that, because I didn't have a bloody clue.
So, Wrestling Golf Madrid in that order. So that looks to be good. Of course, it's not the only show that Progress have in Wales. They have another show at the Tram Shed. It's the Tram Shed in Cardiff. They have a show literally the following almost 10 days later on the 16th. Almost 2 weeks later, they are back in Wales for part of their Deadly Viper tour of the Snake Charmer show. But I believe their specials are not chapters. I might be wrong. Good to see. Yeah, it looks to be a great opportunity. So I don't blame Progress for this, and obviously their relationship with WWE allows them to do this.
Yeah, it'd be crazy not to. The other thing that Progress have just announced is they have partnered with For the Love of Wrestling. At this year's For the Love of Wrestling show, there will be a Progress Zone. The Progress Ring will be there, and you have the opportunity to have in-ring photos. There's meet and greets with some of the Progress roster, in-ring Q&As, and special interviews with the Progress owners. There are special offers on Progress shows at For the Love of Wrestling as well. And For the Love of Wrestling is, of course, an annual event. It's held at the Liverpool... It's near the docks, isn't it, where it's held?
Yes. I just said it's in Liverpool.
Yeah, it's near the docks, I know that much. This year's event is taking place on the 23rd and 24th of April. You will not believe the number of American wrestlers that are coming over for this show. You have got absolutely anyone you can think of, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I know Kurt Angle is the big headline of it. Yeah. But Sting, Adam Scher's gonna be there.
He's gonna be made popular, isn't he?
The Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
Typhoon, Road Dogg, Bray Wyatt.
Yep. One of his first big appearances.
So,
yeah. SoCal Val.
SoCal Val, yeah, going to be there. Alundra Blaze. Tori Wilson on both days. Mickey James. Tatanka. I used to love Tatanka.
IRS is going to be there.
Ted DiBiase.
Junior and senior.
Yeah. And of course, Sting's going to be there as part of the headline.
Woo!
Indeed.
That's so cool.
So
yeah, if you've got a chance, go along to For the Love of Wrestling, and that is taking place on the 23rd and 24th of April. Our final bit of Progress news, unfortunately, is a little bit sadder. Jonathan Gresham has had to pull out of this week's Atlas tournament after a suspected concussion at his match on AEW. He was due to defend the championship against Chris Ridgway. They did manage to find a fantastic replacement for Ridgway to fight, though. Ridgway took on Kid Lycos.
Yes, now we have learned some of the results, but we're going to save the whole tournament till next weekend because Big Daddy Dan, of course, will be at the second night of festivities. So he'll be there for the finals. He'll be there to tell us who wins. And I'm sure he's absolutely buzzing for this over at the Dome in Tufnell Park. But it should be absolutely fantastic. But what is available now on Demand Progress is both the BAME show, Everything Pattern London, and the all women's show, Who Runs the World. Now I have seen all of the Everything Pattern London and half of the Who Runs the World show. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to quick round up and some final thoughts, some stuff that I like, some that I didn't like on the Everything Pattern show. So starting with Man Like Doris won the fatal four-way between Leon Slater, Levi Muir, and Keelan Krishna. TK Cooper defeated Uprising star Harry Singh. Rio defeated Tonga. Warren Banks defeated Jody Fleisch. The 8-7 defeated the Easy City Sovereigns and the Tribe Called Catch. That's Darius Lockhart and Sugar Duncanton. The Easy City Sovereigns are RJ Singh and Jordan Saeed. Giselle defeated Holidead. Trisha Dora defeated Mercedes Blaze. And Jonathan Gresham defeated Malik. Overall, I would give this show 4 sugars. It was a very entertaining show with some good matches. Okay, so some of the really good points. One, the opening match absolutely just tore the house down, and partly due to how goddamn good Leon Slater bloody was. And I finally figured out who Leon Slater reminds me of as a performer.
Go on.
Will Ospreay.
Wow, okay. If you're going to remind somebody, then yeah, go for a big one.
Because I learned something. He's actually only 17 years old still.
Good God.
And good God, yes. Good God indeed. Wow. Leon Slater is just nuts. So good. So good. There were some sequences in this match that just had your jaw dropping, and pretty much most of them were Leon Slater doing his jaw dropping, death defying, gravity defying shit. He absolutely killed it, and literally everybody pretty much shook his hand at the end of the match. So just bang on. Warren Banks' match against Jody Fleisch, really, really good, solid work. First time seeing Darius Lockhart, big fan. First time seeing Trish Adora. Really big fan. Really big fan. Man, I said, okay, so the main event, Gresham busted out more of his comedy styling than his overall wrestling, and they actually only had a 13-minute main event, so that was that could have been better maybe for me. There were also, you know, because I'm just one of these people, I don't like these type of spots. So it was in the the triple threat tag match. One person put a leg scissor on, and the next person put a leg scissor on, and the next person put a leg scissor on, and the next person did put a leg scissor on, and
don't be such
then
a
the other
bastard.
person put him onto a. Yeah, okay. I don't like that type of spot. It's not for me. The crowd busted. They loved the spot. They really enjoyed the spot. There was a few spots throughout the show that maybe weren't for me, but the crowd absolutely loved it. Very entertaining. Crowd was fantastic. And just some really, really good matches and really, really impressive performances by the likes of Trish Adora, Mercedes Blaze, who absolutely tore the place down. Giselle Shaw and Holly Dead was fantastic. Tonga got a great match against Rio. She looked really strong, despite Rio coming out with the win. You know, far more positives than negatives. Way down.
Did the Easter Bunny not bring you enough chocolate? Is that what the problem is?
The Easter Bunny didn't bring me enough chocolate. I am a sour man. I know. I'm sorry. But overall, look, I'm not going to say it comes down to my view on the fact that they're just not my type of spots for wrestling. Some people absolutely love these spots. The crowd there, they at the time, they loved it. So I'm not faulting the spots. I'm just saying they're not spots that I particularly like.
Fair enough.
I think that's being fair. And let's say overall, Bobby Champagne Jr., who did the ringer introduction and hosting, bang on, he did a great job. So overall, and full plaudits to the crowd who were fantastic that night. Anyway, TNT Extreme.
Yes, have announced a very interesting and exciting new thing. It's only been announced today. Pit Fighter.
Indeed. Coming on August the 24th, one night before Summer Explosion, a special one-night tournament where 8 of the hardest men in the world will fight for supremacy inside the chains. The only way to win this match is by knockout or submission. Who will survive? Pit Fighter. And I haven't really gone much into details of what type of tournament this is. So the speculation, is this a deathmatch tournament, or is this more of a shooter tournament? I'm leaning more towards the latter because they've already done a deathmatch tournament.
I know who I want to see in it.
Okay, let's go on. So I want some names. I want some British names, some European names, and some Americans.
Okay, I'm going to start with the American. Filthy Tom Lawler.
He'd be a great shout.
Timothy Thatcher.
Great shout.
Danny Birch.
Nice. Oh, Danny Birch. You mean Frank
Martin Stone.
Martin Stone, sorry. Yeah, Martin Stone. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And we both went for this one. Corey McRae.
Of course, man. And you went for Ian Skinner as well.
I did indeed. Now, you see, Ian Skinner, if this is a true pit fighting thing, Ian Skinner has got all the tools for this. All the tools. This really could be his standout introduction at TNT.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed because I'm a little disappointed it's only 8 because I could name so many people who I'd absolutely love to see this tournament. You just said though. So some of the names, Corey McRae, of course. But yeah, Chris Ridgway, Mark Haskins, their style of fighting would be ideal for this. Even Joe Hendry. I like the Kev Lloyd, not sexy Kev. Bring me catch Kev. Give me the guy who runs the snake pit in Wigan these days. Give me that man. As for some American names, who was Ninja Mac, after seeing him in Bloodsport recently, I think he would be absolutely fantastic. Scotty Rourke and RPD from the Brits as well. I'd like to see them.
RPD could go well,
RPD, the boxing, and Scotty Rourke, the Grebo grappler, has a black belt in Taekwondo, so he's got that shoot background as well. Some European names. Bobby Guns would be a good shout for this tournament, as would Marius Al Arni, Endokara, Fuminori Arbi from Japan, just competed in the 16 carat, or won the Ambitions tournament. The Ambitions tournament is a knockout submission tournament. It's a shoot style, and he won that, so he'd be a great shout.
I know this might be a little bit of a out there one, but Minoru Suzuki.
I don't think it's an out there one. I think this would be almost perfect for Minoru Suzuki. As I say, he seems to be doing his tour at the moment. I'm not saying it's a retirement tour. I'm just saying he seems to be on a tour at the moment. So, yeah, he would be perfect. Keno from Noah in Japan, he would be great. But so many great names you could throw out all around the world. As I say, I'd like to see a nice shoot tournament, but go on. Make it a 16-man tournament.
It's a one-night show. That's too many.
Oh, I know.
Sovereign Pro Wrestling. Let's get on with some more news here. Myron Reed is coming to Sovereign Pro Wrestling in Manchester at First Reign. Myron Reed has replaced Michael Oku in the main event against Chris Ridgway and Malik, and this can be the first time that Reed has been booked in the UK. Exciting news there from Sovereign Pro Wrestling. And
Huge
also,
news. Huge news.
Not the only huge news from Sovereign Pro Wrestling, because they've announced that Lucille Lee will be in action against Aurora Tevez at First Reign, and this is set to take place on the 1st of October in Manchester.
Have you seen much work from the young goat?
No.
Hot fire, Myron Reed.
No, I've seen Naffle.
Go check out MLW Fusion YouTube. You'll be able to find some of his work. Just check out his matches. He is highly athletic, 24-year-old, very charismatic, calls himself the young goat, for God's sake. Hot fire Myron Reed is superb. He hits one of the best running diving cutters you'll ever see. Whether he does this going from inside the ring while you're on the apron and running, jumping over the ropes and hitting you with a cutter to the floor, or if you've got a long rampway, he likes to run all the way down the rampway, jump over the ropes and hit you with a cutter on the way in. Either of them absolutely look phenomenal. If I'll try and find a clip and we'll post it on Twitter to follow this.
Do love our Twitter machines.
Indeed. But I'd say Aurora Tevez, Lucille Lee, that's going to be a great match. Two fantastic young competitors. It's their second women's match to be announced so far on the card, so they're already doing well. Put two women's matches on a card. Great start. So should be a great show. What the other matches already been announced? There's the Dream House death match between Harley Hudson and Mariah May. Yeah. And Danny Duggan versus Joey Hayes. Should be a very good match. I should be there on the 1st of October.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. You should be able to give us all the information.
Indeed.
Rev Pro UK, the United Empire, will no longer be appearing at Rev Pro UK's Unfinished Business in Sheffield on May the 1st. This is due to a scheduling conflict. But there is good news, isn't there?
There is. There will be 2 championship matches. Alex Windsor will be defending her women's championship against Rhea O'Reilly. And then the team of Pure Beef will challenge Sunshine Machine for the Rev Pro UK Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Plus, more hard-hitting action because RKJ and Dan Maloney are set to clash 1 on one.
Insane Championship Wrestling news. Alexis
Rev
Falcon.
Pro UK, because they've got the on demand right now, is finally.
Yes, they have. I'm sorry. Yes.
They finally put up their Raw deal, which was the show from Stevenage back at the beginning of March. Great show. I would give this show 4 sugars. RKJ picked up a win over Mysterioso from New Japan Strong. High-End defeated Chantel Jordan. Mark Davis defeated Yota Tsuji. Michael Oku defeated Connor Mills, Callum Newman, Nico Angelo, Just Joe Lando, and JJ Gale in a scramble match. Shota Umino defeated Luke Jacobs. Sunshine Machine defeated Lycos. Jim, I'm sure there should be one more match. I haven't written down. Let me just quickly. Overall, there was, as I say, great matches here, particularly High-End versus Chantel Jordan. I'm just going to highlight that one straight away. Really, really good match. Solid performances from both young women. It was Alex Coughlin versus Carl Fletcher. I was missing, and Alex Coughlin defeated Carl Fletcher. And that was an absolutely blistering match as well. Those two battered each other. Mark Davis and Yota Tsuji, they pretty much just battered each other. Shota Umino and Luke Jacobs, guess what they did?
Did they batter each other?
They battered each other. And they were really good matches because they literally battered each other for it. But highlight of the show really has to be that scramble match. This was insane in the membrane. It was just absolutely, these guys just tore. Every single one of them had like Leon's Slater moments in this match. They just all just did shit that just shouldn't be possible to do, but they did it. Robbie X and Dan Maloney had a really good match as well in the main event. My one thing I'm going to pull up on this match, I don't like it, and I think it is when the referee pulls one of the competitors off of another, say when they're on top of the mount doing beatdowns or even just stomping on them, and you know sometimes the referee would be like pulling them apart to check on the competitor. I don't like that. If you have to pull the opponent off the mat, the opponent, he wins. It's TKO. It's that simple. It should not. If someone pulls up an injury or anything like that, call the match TKO. Would
you like me to prime you some cream eggs?
Yes, actually, I bloody love a cream egg. Thank you very much. I've eaten mine already. But no, it's a silly thing. I don't like it. I think it's, if you're gonna when I talk about BWR, I'm going to say the same thing about the Scotty Rourke and 2-Bit match. They did the exact same spot. In fact, they did another spot that I really dislike in a 2 out of 3 falls, but I'll get into that in a little while. Other than that, it really didn't put a damper on the show whatsoever. It was fantastic for Sugars, and Robbie X and Dan Maloney did kick ass, but I think if you're going to do that spot, it's a TKO.
You know what? When you've got these opinions like this, what you need to do is control your narrative.
No, do you know what you need to do if you've got opinions like this?
You'll be banning super kicks next.
No. Do you know, this is what you do if you have opinions like this? You start a podcast.
Oh, that's going to come back and bite us in the arse. Insane Championship Wrestling. Alexis Falcon will make her ICW debut on the 8th of May, and do make sure to watch the current episode on WWE Network because it features Chris Ridgway versus Martin Kirby, and that is going to be a great match.
Yeah, you didn't watch it this week, but you have been very busy at shows, so...
I've been busy at shows and I've been busy doing work stuff.
Yeah, I should try to fit ICW back into my weekly at some point. But you know, I've just been watching so much.
Why don't you give the really big news here?
Okay, so promotions of British Wrestling Past, One Pro Wrestling and New Generation Wrestling are returning. So One PW are making their return after nearly 10 years.
And they do have a hell of a reputation.
Okay, yes. Originally ceased in operation in 2011. They will make their return. They have announced a partnership with Fight TV for this return, and they will officially be making a return on the 1st of October, and it is at the Doncaster Dome. So I went to myself, do I want to go to One PW or do I want to go to Soft Pro? And I looked up the lineups and I went, I want to go to Soft Pro.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the lineup is looking good for 1PW. You've got RVD, Mickey James, Ruby Soho and the Haskins, and Robbie X all confirmed so far. There will be a fan slam meet and greet as well.
You know what? I would much rather see Myron Reed, a young 24 competitor who's making his way up, than RVD in the ring. I'm sorry.
But it might be your only chance to see RVD in the ring.
Yeah, I missed that opportunity 20 years ago when he was.
Yeah,
stop right there.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And Mickey James is still good. She absolutely kicks ass.
Ruby Soho's great.
I'm not that big a fan of Soho.
I like Ruby Soho a lot. Really do.
I prefer Mickey James.
Well, that's because Ruby Soho's in AEW and you don't watch AEW, you see.
I've seen 3 of her matches in AEW, and
Have
I
you?
can see why WWE released her.
Ooh.
The Haskins.
You are a grumpy bastard today, aren't you?
What Haskins?
And Vicky.
And Vicky Haskins, the Haskins, are going to be, as is Robbie X. And you know what? I'd much rather see all of them.
Yep.
Because,
yeah, I mean, having Robbie X is a big get in the UK.
Yeah, he is. He's one of the best performers, and he's one of the best. And so is Mark Haskins, 2 of the best in Britain. So, but yeah, I would much rather see the best in Britain right now than some others.
NGW, New Generation.
Yes, New Generation Wrestling. They are officially returning on the 14th of May in Hull.
Yeah, they've been on a 3-year absence, basically since lockdown. They are officially returning on the 14th of May in Hull, so it's quite soon. Confirmed for their first show, we have got Matt Myers, Nathan Cruz, Adam Maxted, Robbie X, Alexis Falcon, Miles Kamen, Reese and Rogan, and Sam Bailey, who recently in all of our interview podcasts, everyone has been putting over like Rover.
Yeah, we're not even joking about that. At least 4 of the last 6 people have had Sam Bailey in the British Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. So if you want to see some proper Brit Wres, head on over to New Generation Return.
Yeah, at least New Generation have a good reputation.
There's another reason you're not going to be going along to that show, isn't there?
Look, let's talk about a top story coming out of Europe, and that is Jonathan Gresham's going to be making his return to WXW Germany on the 3rd of July in Hamburg. The WWX 16-carat gold winner returns for his first time since winning the tournament. Of course, he does have a title shot in his belt, so will he challenge the current unified champion, Jörn Simmons?
I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah, Simmons is very, very big.
And are you saying that Jonathan Gresham isn't?
A little bit. Not compared to Jörn Simmons, but then again, nobody's bloody. He's 6'3".
Well, somebody
300
is.
pounds. But you know, when you're down on the mat, you're all the same size. And you know what Jonathan Gresham does really well? Take you down to the mat quicker than anybody else can.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say that actually. Did you see the video from AEW of Satnam Singh squaring up to Jonathan Gresham?
Yeah, it's not going to be quite that big a difference, but yeah, but there'll still be Simmons is bigger than Warren Banks, so. But before that does take place, WXW are in Weihai on the 30th of April. Jørn Simmons will be defending his Unified World Championship against Tristan Archer. Also at the show will be Fast Time Mudo versus Senza Volto. That'll be exciting. Heisenberg versus Lavanio. That should be a good match. And Axel Tisca versus Igel Long. That will be a really good match as well. Then on the 14th of May, WXW are in Obertraubling. Obertraubling?
Mate, I ain't got a chance. I'm sorry.
After more than 2 years, WXW returned to the Event Hall Airport. In action, you'll be seeing Axel Tisca, Arrows of Hungary, Maggot, Baby Allison, and more will be in action. They are the most recent WXW for the love of wrestling has been put on WXW now. I haven't had time to watch it this week, so I'll be watching it next week to review for you guys out there, the listeners at home.
Right, shall we do a review?
Well, let's do the recap and review of NXT UK. Why not?
Okay, we'll start off with Mark and Joe Coffey versus Jack Stars and Dave Mastiff. Stars was definitely the face in peril to begin with. And yeah, eventually Joe Coffey lifted up Dave Mastiff when he came into the ring, and Jack Stars drop kicked him onto Joe, which was a nice little spot. Mastiff hit a huge belly to back on Joe and really isolated him until he managed to hit a missile drop kick to escape and tag in Mark, who was a house on fire, hitting Mark moves and Stars. Joe did a surprise tag into Mark when Mark had Mastiff down and was going to go for the pin. But then in the end, Mark was so pissed off, they argued and argued and argued. And then in the end, Jack Stars managed to hit a power bomb on Joe Coffey. I did not like that at all. So there's my grumpy bit. Gallus then argued because of this all happening, and Wolfgang had to come in and be the voice of reason, which they all joked about. We then had a recap video of Roderick Strong and Ilya Dragunov, and it showed that after the match they shook hands and then were interrupted by Jordan Devlin, who said that he's going to be coming for a one-on-one match. Well, at least the match should be good. We then had a video for Sam Gradwell and Kenny Williams about their back alley brawl. Interesting that they kept focusing on the rough-looking parts of Blackpool, wasn't it, at this point? It's not like there's a combat club that comes from that area that they wanted to try and make Blackpool look bad. I mean, if that was really the reasoning behind it, yeah. But anyway, the back alley brawl looks like it's going to be great fun. Meiko Satomura was then seen in the ring. She called out Isla Dawn to bring her championship back. Isla Dawn's now got the music going through all of her promos, so she gets the sort of the gangsters treatment, having the music go throughout. You can have the belt if I can have a rematch. Works for me. The World of Darkness match, is that what they're going to end up calling it this time? But basically, in the end, she ended up spitting black mist in Meiko Satomura's face. Gallus were then shown still fighting backstage. Then there was a promo with Wild Boar and Mandrews. Mark Andrews saying that they've been mates for years, they'll still be mates, and they will take out Eddie Dennis. We then had, possibly on any other night, would have been match of the night. Eliza Alexander made her debut, the former Lizzie Evo, against Angel Hayes. Angel hit some great kicks at the beginning, some really good strikes. Alexander took control with a really bullying attack. Great running knee strike for the win. And our debuting Eliza Alexander came out looking strong. So good match. Amelia McKenzie was then being interviewed backstage and was interrupted by Stevie Turner, because that's all they seem to be letting Stevie Turner do at the moment, which is a shame. We then had a promo video for Mustache Mountain showing Trent Seven's questionable behaviour and his attitude, and the attitude between the two teams ahead of next week's 2 out of 3 Falls main event. We then had a treat, didn't we?
We did.
Teoman versus A-Kid. It was a beautiful match. I could watch these two all day long. Explosive speed, technical mastery, and genuine storytelling throughout. It was brilliant. A-Kid took a nasty drop kick to the side of the head from Teoman when he was sat on the ring apron. That looked horrible. Outside, there were distractions from Raja and Dempsey. Teoman focused on the neck for about 5 minutes before A-Kid escaped all the submissions. Great resilience from A-Kid. He catched Teoman while Teoman did a springboard. He caught him into a choke, then an armbar. Teoman got the ropes to break it. A-Kid hit a huge back moonsault to the outside, taking out the henchman there. That was brilliant. And then Teoman hit this somersaulting DDT. It was wicked. And he got the win. 1, 2, 3 to Teoman in a clean win as well. Ish.
I think Will Ospreay used to do that as the sort of Essex flipping DDT. Great move, though.
Yeah.
But let's see. Good points, bad points about this. The first match, you know what? I got into it more and enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
The women's match was fantastic.
It was.
Bad thing, Mark Andrews and his never-ending wrestling storyline with Symbiosis and Law, and it does feel like this feels like it started way back at the first ever episode of NXT UK.
Long-term storytelling.
No, never-ending story is not the same as. But and then
I remember when Wild Boar. Yeah.
And then, as you say, a great main event. That neck breaker, shoulder breaker thing he did, that packaged, that was brilliant. I like that. That was really good and great finish. Overall, I would give this show 3.5 sugars.
I would also give it 3.5 sugars, and I would also say this has been Teoman's match that we've been waiting for since he signed.
Yeah,
it's really showed what he could do. Very impressed with Teoman. Always impressed with A-Kid. And if this is what sends A-Kid off to America, thank you very much, A-Kid.
Yeah. Well, we will see you another day.
Yeah. And see what you get called when you go over there.
Well, he's going to definitely obviously have the name change.
B-Man.
Well, what are they gonna so Alphonse?
God, no.
Alfonso?
No.
Oh no, God no. Look, on a brighter and badder note, Crash Lucha put out there that Marty Skrull and Travis Banks would be on their show as a tag team as well. They were supposed to face Lince Dorado and somebody else, but Lince Dorado said he will not compete and said they either changed the match or he won't compete. And then Mecha Wolf also pulled out of this match. I hope they both continue to do so, because they both then said about appearances for AAA Mania, and of course AAA Mania AAA are now have said that Alberto Del Rio will be returning to them. So I hope that Lince Dorado and Mecha Wolf stay to their principles and also pull out of their shows. for the heinous acts that Marty Scurll and Travis Banks committed, the heinous acts that Alfonso Del Rio, or whatever his bloody name is, of kidnapping and worse. At the end of the day, none of these three guys should be near wrestling. So, but let's talk about some great shows that are coming next week.
We have got British Wrestling Revolution's Underground 10. This is going to be taking place in Grimsby. Nathan Cruz versus Dara Diablo. Will Cruz versus Miles Kamen for the Underground Championship. Tonga versus Natalie Sykes. I always say that. Riley Nova and Joseph Connors versus Robbie X and Callum Newman. Scotty Rourke versus Jet Marshall versus Leon Slater for the BWR Cruiserweight Championship.
And if you go check the BWR on demand, you'll be able to see their most recent show, No Gods, No Masters 4, which opened up with Sin, second to none, Nathan Cruz and Matt Myers defeating Crash Boat, Jake Silver and Jack Bandicoot, and Reese and Rogan. Gia Adams defeated Tonga. Will Cruz defeated Powerhouse Blake. Joseph Connors defeated RKJ. Robbie X defeated Miles Kamen. Tom Farewell defeated Leon Slater. Scotty Rourke defeated 2-Bit in a 2 out of 3 Falls match. All right, so I'm going to get my bad point off straight away because I overall this match was absolutely fantastic. 2-Bit and Scotty Rourke. Now, of course, they did that pull apart where they pulled. So I've already moaned about that in the previous match. One that I'm going to, it was a 2 out of 3 Falls match, and Scotty Rourke picked up the first fall. 2-Bit picked up the second fall. 2-Bit picked up the second fall by attaching his rear naked sleeper, which he calls the rat trap, to which Scotty Rourke did not tap, but rather pass out. Now, if you've ever been forced unconscious in real, you would not get up and then start fighting in the next few seconds. It is extremely disorientating and also not good for you. And I believe if you're going to be choked out in any type of Iron Man match or thing, it is you're out. You've been choked out. It's the same as the KO. So other than that, it was an absolutely fantastic match.
I've been knocked out and then gone on to continue playing rugby.
No, you've been choked out.
I wasn't choked out. No, I was knocked out.
You ever had the oxygen starved from your brain?
No.
It's not a pleasant experience, and there's a reason. You wouldn't typically get straight back up and try and fight. It wouldn't be good for your health. So I think he should have just tapped out and been a submission. Other than that, fine. Crash
Amazon
Boat
Prime.
I love I love Crash Boat. I always do. Jake Silver, Jack Bandicoot, they are so inventive with what they do. Will Cruz, Powerhouse Blake, absolute powerhouse, battered each other. Robbie X, Miles Kamen had a standout performance in this match against Robbie X. He replaced Callum Newman in the match and didn't look out of place in the main event, challenging for a world championship despite his tender age. So good on him for his performance. Tom Farewell and Leon Slater in the BWR Youth and Revolt tournament final. I've sung the praises for Tom Farewell for a long time. I'm singing the praises of Leon Slater for a good short while. Two fantastic young performers who put on a fantastic match. So overall, I would give this 3.5 sugars.
Nice. Kamikaze Pro. Sky's the Limit 8 is coming to Digbeth. Experiment in Terror versus Charles Crowley and a mystery partner. Chuck Mambo versus Pimp Margera in a beach ball death match. Mayor Doris versus Carlos Roma. Sean Custom, the champion, versus TK Cooper for the Kamikaze Pro Championship. Chantel Jordan versus Charlie Morgan for the Relentless Championship. The debuting Warhorse versus Luke Douglas, and Mariah May versus Zaya Brookside versus Rio.
Experiment in Taylor versus Charles Crowley and the mystery partner. Could be very close, of course. The Experiment in Terror are Elijah and LK Messinger. Yep. Do you reckon they're going to do the, the Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes switch that they did back in the day?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I have no idea is the honest answer. I'll just be interested to see what happens.
Indeed. And I really want to see the brat off between Mariah May and Zaya Brookside.
Yes, everyone wants to see that.
On Saturday the 23rd, you've got Rainham Wrestling Alliance in Essex. You've got Saints and Dragons, Moss and the Man of Steel, and Warren Banks versus CJ Carter and Ash Draven. Jordan Said versus Paul Robinson. West Side Heat versus The Rebellion. Tommy Kyle versus Murdoch Miller Jr. Sapphire Reed versus Amira Erez. And Callum Newman versus Vaughn Vertigo.
Nice. Wrestling Resurgence. We have got a Love and Fight in Resurgence, which is taking place in Leicester. Rhea O'Reilly versus Gene Money versus Man Like Doris versus Nico Angelo versus Visage for the vacant Art House Championship. Alexis Falcon versus Warhorse. Harry Singh versus Big Jim Diehard. Elijah versus Jody Fleisch. Lycos Jim versus BDSM in a 3 stages of hell for the vacant tag titles. And then the match that I am most excited for. TK Hulkster versus the Ultimate Mambo, recreate the Ultimate Challenge. This is because, unfortunately, Sunshine Machine accidentally recorded over the original Hulkster versus Ultimate Warrior match. So they're going to have to recreate it for all prosperity.
Gotta go. It's TK Hulkster versus the Ultimate Mambo.
It's going to be great. It is going to be absolutely great.
Exactly. Well done. Why you have to give it the emphasis, the old Vince McMahon-isms. Pro Wrestling Evo, you've got Global Women's Strike 3 in London. Alex Windsor versus Shoko Nakajima. Charlie Morgan versus Emi Sakura. Casey versus Jeddah. Max the Impaler versus Session Moth Martina. Eliza Alexander versus Emerson Jane. Nina Samuels versus Millie McKenzie. Ava White versus Sky Smithson.
Oh, it's going to be good. Shooting Star Pro, Reach for the Stars in Rotherham. Jason Jacob versus Styx. Brady Phillips versus Leon Slater. Natalie Sykes versus Rebecca Resner. HD Drake versus Danny Chase. The Violence Party versus Crash Boat. And Mickey Van Riot versus Adam Bolt.
Always go to a show that has Crash Boat on them, and Leon Slater. And Rebecca Resner.
It's just a great show, really.
Just a great show.
Sunday the 24th. What have we got on Sunday?
Well, we kick it off with Croatian Pro Wrestling with insert Marvel quote here, Cardiff, Wales. Michael Oku versus Brendan White versus Sapphire Reed versus Man Like Bino versus David Francesco versus Splits McPins versus Mark True versus Full Vertigo in a Jumpers for Ring Post match.
I've handled ring posts yesterday. They're very, very heavy. I don't think jumpers will make very good ring posts.
No, and for Americans out there, because I'm not sure do Americans do this, you'll have to let us know. But here in the UK, whenever you couldn't get goal posts for either rugby or football, you would literally put your coats down, and that would be the goal line.
So yes, there we go.
Between two goalposts. So that is where the whole jumpers for ring posts come from. Anyway, Connor Mills versus Nico Angelo versus Lee Hunter. Sid Oakley versus Charlie Sterling. Lycos Jim versus Luke Jacobs and Jason Joshua. Nino Bryant versus Robbie X. And Riho versus Elijah.
Nice. ICW Bard in Glasgow. The Kings of the North will be putting their championships on the line against the Meat Wagon. Kes Evans puts his championship on the line against BT Gunn. Thatcher's Cabinet versus Ravy Davy, Luking Sharp and Krieger. The Manifesto versus Luke Cairo, Daz Black, Leighton Buzzard and Jack Jester. Jason Reed will be taking on Chris Bungard in a wrestling MMA hybrid match. And Big Damo goes up against Andy Wilde again. And I am not sad to see this match again because it was brilliant the last time.
It certainly was. So the rules for that MMA wrestling hybrid is 5 3-minute rounds. The match can be won by pinfall, submission, knockout, or by escaping the cage. If Chris Bungard wins, Jason Reed and Coach Tripp must part ways. Interesting stipulation.
I wouldn't be sad about that. I think their time has come to an end. I think Jason Reed will be absolutely fantastic on his own now.
Yes, I definitely think so too. I think Reed has more than enough the chops to go out by himself.
Right. Shall we do a further roundup?
Further roundup? What else is happening around the UK wrestling scene?
The henchest man in all of wrestling, Big Guns Joe, will be in action for Wrestle Carnival on July 10th at the Strongman Challenge. He returns ringmasters in Coventry on the 10th of July. Can Joe go back to back as the Wrestle Carnival Strongman Challenge winner? Let's see. Wrestle Carnival will also have released a limited edition T-shirt for ringmasters that all VIP holders will receive. I've seen this T-shirt. It is cool. You can only get this T by being a VIP. What's that include? VIT. You won't want to miss ringmasters because the Master of the Worms, Scott Garland, formerly known as Scotty Too Hotty, will be in action. And before this, though, is the Hunt.
Indeed, that is on the 22nd of May in Nottingham, and they've recently added Pure Beef, the team of Will Cruz and Powerhouse Blake.
Hey. On April the 30th, Phenomenal Elite Wrestling are going to have Foregone Conclusion, where Martin Kirby will make his first defense of the PEW World title against Just Joe Lando. Lando previously beat Kirby to earn a title opportunity at PW's first show. Can he beat Kirby again to become champion? Kirby has said he is going to make an announcement and bring in something interesting ahead of the match. PW also kick off their Fallen Angel tournament. Several more participants have been confirmed, including LA Taylor, Ronnie Knox, Alfie and Mia Cortez have all been entered. Plus, Ruby Radley, Echo Reed and Aurora will all make their debuts for PEW as part of the tournament.
Yeah, Echo Reed will actually be facing Mariah May in the one of the first round matches.
Exciting. It also seems that PEW General Manager Jesse has booked the Rebellion's first defense of their PEW tag titles as they're going to take on the new team of Chocolate Thunder and Lance Rivera. That is a good team. And H. Hood is going to defend his Internet Championship against 3 debuting stars. Polish Barry, Toby Valentine, and British legend James Mason will all have the opportunity to win that belt. You can win it, guys. Go for it. You can do it.
Don't you mean H. Hood is set to retain his Internet Championship against Polish Barry, Toby Valentine and British legend James Mason? They are all great, but they are just not H. Hood.
They are not H. Hood. We are thankful for this.
Title Championship Wrestling. The full lineup has been announced for Bring Me Sunshine on the 1st of May in Hull. So far announced. So you've got US Independent Star Warhorse challenges Brady Phillips for the TCW Heavyweight Championship. Riho will defend her TCW Women's Championship in a Falls Count Anywhere match against Ivy. Simon Miller will be making his debut against Jack Turner, also in action. Sean Only versus Chris Egan. Bo Bells versus Natalie Sykes. Sunshine Machine versus Luke Jacobs and Tom Felwell, as well as Men Like the Reese versus HT Drake. Tidal have also announced High Tide 2022 and Matinee at the Museum, a double show on the 25th of July at the Leeds Museum.
Elite Wrestling Entertainment. The stars of Elite Wrestling Entertainment UK will be at the MCM Comic Con on the 27th to 29th of May. This will include heavyweight champ Bullet, light heavyweight champ Alexander Roth, Simon Miller, Claudia Bradston, Charlie Biggs, and Clive Jackson.
Catch Pro Wrestling Monday Night Catch Pro returns on the 2nd of May at the Bread Shed in Manchester and is set to feature Alexis Falcon versus Lucy Sky, Kid Lycos 2 versus Miles Kamen, Scotty Rourke versus Lachlan Sharp, and Big Guns Joe versus 2-Bit.
Slam Masters Wrestling will be back on Sunday, May the 8th in Pontyclun as the women's champion Mariah May will face LA Taylor and Echo Reed in a triple threat match. You can check out Mariah May's previous defense against Chantel Jordan on Slam Masters YouTube channel.
Indeed, and we will be talking to the promoter of Slam Masters Wrestling next week.
Yeah, can't wait.
Pro Wrestling Chaos. Chaos have announced a 3 huge matchups for their sold-out show on the 30th of April, including the most recently announced Jetta versus Laura Di Matteo. Other matches include Brendan White versus Eddie Ryan, and a triple threat tag team action, Smoking Aces versus Sunshine Machine versus the Dead Sad Boys, Jay Joshua and Billy Hayes.
They were talking about that yesterday, the Dead Sad Boys, about how excited they are for that match. They are absolutely dead excited for it.
There they are.
Black Country Championship Wrestling. Following a gruesome tag match at their last show, Luke Basham will be looking to even the score against one half of the Devil's Rejects, Wesker, on the 29th of April's Showdown in Sedgley. This dates back to December 2021 when their rivalry began. So this is, again, long-term storytelling. The feud is getting hotter by the month. Also, Lucia Lee will be in action and will be hosting an open challenge.
The opener challenge, to be precise. United Wrestling, CJ Carter, Wrestling Memes, Josh Nomax, Battle It Out in a no DQ Falls Count Anywhere triple threat match for the blank check, which can be cashed in at any time for their shot at the United Wrestling Championship. This takes place at United Day 5, Mayday, on the 1st of May.
World Pro Wrestling, British Wrestling.
Sorry, we're going to be talking to United Wrestling promoters next week.
Yay! World Pro Wrestling, British Wrestling Masters, James Mason and Joel Redman team up to face, Mil Muertes and Andrew Anderson at WPW's Summer Wrestling Spectacular on the 19th of June in Cheltenham. Also in action, Zach Zodiac versus Hernandez, yes, that one, and Niwa versus Joe E. Legend.
Legends of British Wrestling, James Mason and Joel Redman teaming up. Should be a great one.
Definitely.
Jurassic Pro Wrestling on the 12th of June, JPW presents Spit Out the Bone in Harwich. Adam Maxted will be making his paddock debut. Corey McRae, Warren Banks, CJ Carter, Forrest Hayes, Tommy Carl and Nino Bryan will all be there.
TNT Extreme Wrestling have announced that Jade Wolford will be the announcer for their all-women show Sirens Fury on the 28th of April. Plus, the team of Visage and the Poison Princess Jade will be the commentary team on the night. I think Visage is going to be an awesome commentator.
The Poison Princess Jade, she did very well so far from what I've heard on the all-women show at Progress, because she was the commentary team was SoCal Val. And they were sounded very good from the matches I heard. Ultimate Pro Wrestling, the Brothers Orr will defend the UPW tag team titles at UPW Homecoming on the 18th of June at the Corn Exchange in Dorset.
Well done.
There you go.
SWW Wrestling at Combat Volume 7 in Bristol on the 1st of May. Eliza Alexander and Alexis Fulcum will do battle in the number 1 contenders match. Eliza Alexander. I wonder if she's ever faced Alexis Falcon before.
Well, I'm not sure if Eliza Alexander has, you know.
Yeah, it's a new match. It's very exciting. Plus, WWE NXT UK star Jack Stars will make his return to SWW to face JD Knight, as well as a second #1 contenders match as the Smoking Aces and the Greedy Souls collide once again. This trilogy concludes with both teams competing for a shot at the House's Tag Team Championships in a no disqualifications tag match.
UKPW have announced Reign and Rampage on the 30th of April. UKPW champions Alexander Roth teams with KM Lane against the team of Callie Gray and Jack Kent. Plus, Amira Erez and Fentos will be in action. Plus, the rumours are true. Battle of the Bay 2 will take place on July 31st at Baytastic.
Awesome. Also, a little side story. Do have a look on Rumble Wrestling's page, because they had their hair versus hair match, which all went a little bit sideways. Find out how on their page.
Some quick Euro wrestling news roundup for you. Bodyslam Wrestling have announced, Bodyslam Wrestling in Denmark, that is. Bodyslam Wrestling have announced the Great Scandinavian Bash. The best of Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, and Finnish will all be represented in one show. The first Bodyslam Championship match in over a year, as Carlos Zamora and a yet-to-be-announced opponent will battle it out for the vacant championship. A six-man tag action. Pete Phoenix teams with Svigeres Elite, which is the Swedish elite, Tank Anderson and Steinbolt against the Easy Lovers, Bam Bam Quaid, Jackpot, and Eric Sable. Plus, Endokara makes his return since that fantastic match with Francisco Akira to face Timmy Force.
Jackpot is such a great wrestler name. It really is. German promotion, Promorian EV. The lads are on tour as the close personal friends collide against each other in a fatal four-way action in Germany on the 8th of October in Markgrafensaal Schwabach, and I apologize for destroying that, just outside of Nuremberg. The close personal friends, of course, close personal friends of ourselves, are Danny Black, Just Joe Lando, Lewis Maverick Mayhew, and Callum Newman.
Yeah, good on you, lads. Go kill it again. Hungarian Championship Wrestling, guess where they're from?
Hopefully at the moment still Hungary.
Yes, Peter Tihanyi will be defending his HCW World Championship at the Day of Glory on the 21st of May against former HCW champion Chris Josick, who made his return to HCW after 2-year absence at their last show, Vendetta.
Bodyzoi. Bodyzoi in Belgium are celebrating their 5th anniversary on the 25th of June with top international stars, including Axel Tiska, Jody Fleisch, Joey Janela, Tristan Archer, Maggot, and Senza Volta. And one match has been announced, which should be a banger. Chris Ridgway will face Agil Blanc.
Will be an absolute banger. Rising Sun in Italy on the 30th of April. Rising Sun celebrate their 6th anniversary. 2 matches have been announced so far. Nico Inverardi versus Steve McKee, and Bjorn versus Nick Wave. Of course, Rising Sun was the home promotion of Francisco Akira.
And finally, on our European roundup, Lucha Libre Barcelona. Congratulations to Golden Boy Santos, who defeated Maria de la Rosa to become the new LLB Nick Absolute champion last night. Maria had been champion for 121 days for this successful title defense.
She made 4.
Yeah, 4 successful title defenses, including one against Billy Hayes. So well done.
Yeah. And congratulations to Golden Boy Santos. who does a lot of his training over at the WXW Academy in Germany, despite being Portuguese. And he looks like an absolute god. He really does.
He does.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, just remember one thing: don't feed the trolls.